folks, welcome back to another Throat Punch Lunch. Happy Thanksgiving, or at least tomorrow is Thanksgiving. So this is a chance for me to just say thank you to all of you guys who have been sticking with us through this journey, having a great time putting together all of these segments, and I hope that all of my contributors are having a good time putting those segments together so that I can compile them all. I've been having a great time with all of this, been learning a lot of cool things from my contributors and things that I've been just kind of figuring out as I'm putting together this variety show for all of you guys. So I sincerely hope that you guys have been enjoying it as much as I have. I really have enjoyed watching all the segments, so I hope you guys have too. We have a pretty good episode for you today. A lot of contributors showed up, even though we just had Board Game Geek Con last weekend, and some of my contributors were there as I was, so I won't have a segment this week, but we do have a good lineup of segments for those of us who were actually on the ball and got their segments done before the con. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to those segments that have been prepared for your viewing pleasure. Let's get to it.
Now it's time to share the love. With me, Lara Williams.
Hey everyone, I'm Lara from Married with Board Games, here with ideas on how you can share the love of board games with your non-gaming friends and family. Over 10 years ago, Disney's first Pirates of the Caribbean film was released, and we were all swept up in pirate mania. Since then, the popularity of all things Buccaneer has ebbed and flowed, but admit it, deep down, you still long for some of that treasure hunting, swashbuckling, high seas adventure. That is what we are going to tap into with a fun and simple game called Jamaica. In Jamaica, 2 to 6 players take on the identities of history's greatest pirates and race around the island of Jamaica. But the first pirate back to Port Royal isn't necessarily the winner. You must loot and pillage along the way, sometimes from your fellow pirates, to collect gold doubloons. The pirate with the most gold wins. The pirate theme is your first relatable aspect of the game, but as I mentioned, there is a racing aspect to the game, and almost anyone can relate to that. There's something about wanting to be first that is inherent in most people. Gotta be first in line on Black Friday. First come, first serve. Gotta be first to comment on that thread. You get the idea. When you tell your friends or family that this is a racing game, their ears should perk up, at least if they are a fun person. After you get them to play this and you know they enjoy it, the next games you could introduce them to could be Thunder Alley or Formula D. Jamaica could also be a good game to introduce your friends and family to the idea of programmed actions and movement. Hang on a second, hear me out on this. Once a pair of dice are rolled, players must all select a card from their hand without the other players knowing which card they selected. They then go around the table in order, playing their card and performing the actions on their chosen cards. Now, I say this could help introduce a newbie to the idea of programmed movement because you have no idea what the other players will do, and different things can come from that. Say you chose your card planning to move forward and get some buried treasure, but another player gets to the treasure before your turn. Or maybe you stay where you are in order to plunder some gold, but another pirate moves into your space, challenges you to a battle, and takes all the gold you just plundered. Once you know they have a good grasp on this concept, maybe they will be better equipped for games such as Cold Express, Mechs vs. Minions, or the Dragon and Flagon. So next time you have an opportunity to share the love with your friends and family, break out Jamaica. Odds are you'll have a swashbuckling good time. And if you do, tweet to me at MarriedWithBG. Thanks for watching and keep on sharing the love.
Hey everyone, this is Tim Jennette the Meadow Meeple, and this is the Miniature Breakdown. So the last thing I want to kind of talk about right now about modeling is priming your models. You can prime your models with white or gray or black or really any color that you want. I highly recommend trying black at first if you're a newbie painter, just because you can kind of paint between the lines. Like say for instance, if there was 2 colors here and there was the gap, if you paint at the top ledge of this and the ledge of that, then you can leave that blackness behind and it kind of separates it, almost like a sketch. You know, you get a sketch and you color in between the lines, or a coloring book. those black lines really make a difference. And that's kind of what the black does here. It does make whites and yellows a little harder to paint because you got to do more layers, but I think it's a lot better of a choice. But either, or at least for beginners, either way, that's not what this video is about. This video is about priming your models using spray paints and such. A lot of people will use, you know, spray paints like the Chaos Black Games Workshop spray paints, or paints from Walmart and whatever you want to use. The problem with that becomes if you're doing more than one model, sometimes it gets kind of hard to paint underneath of them. As you can see here, this is kind of dramatic. I could have done a better job, but this stuff happens all the time, especially with smaller models where you can't get the angles right. And so when I was working on night shift at my job, they were allowing me to paint models and they were cool with it. But I couldn't spray paint anything. I had nowhere to do it, and I didn't want to do it outside because you know, I worked third shift, so I'd have to kind of wake up early and things like that, and humidity and all that. So I decided, you know what, I don't want to do that anymore. And I looked up online, and I found a lot of people were doing this gesso. They were priming their models using a paintbrush, but using gesso. And this stuff is for primering canvas. It's kind of more flexible than normal paint is, and I think it does a really good job. You can see here that the model on the left was spray painted with actually the Chaos Black spray paint, when the model on the right was painted with the black gesso. You can notice that the problem you're thinking is that if you spray paint it, you don't cover up as many details if you do it properly, and when you paint it on, it could get really thick. Well, you can thin that out a little bit with water, but if you add too much, it starts bubbling up, so you kind of know when your stopping point is with that. But if you thin it out enough, you can see that it maintains the details pretty well. Some of the smaller models, such as this girl from Malifaux, I mean, you've got all the details pretty well, even with using a gesso. So, and it's, you know, you can do it indoors. You don't have to worry about the weather, or if it's dark outside. You know, when it's dark, it's kind of hard to see what you've kind of primed sometimes. You know, you don't want to do it in your garage. Obviously, do that in a well-ventilated area. You can sit them in your garage after you do them outside, but I just feel like this was a good alternative for me. I could do it at work, let them dry. I mean, they dry really fast. I mean, you can prime a model and probably within 30 minutes start painting on it. So that's just an interesting tip that I've been doing for many years now. I pretty much never use spray paint anymore, and I probably won't go back. I like this a lot better. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me at timjennette@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me on the social media at the link below. And until next time, keep on rocking and rolling dice.
Hey everyone, it's Mark Zielinski, and welcome to Countercharge. Today, we're going to be talking about a game I have waited a long time for it to come out, and that is Tada by Simon Games, designed by, yep, that's right, Tom Vasel's co-designer on Nothing Personal, Mr. Stephen Avery. That's right. I actually played this game in prototype form at several conventions before it came out, and that's why I waited a long time for it to come. You know, so if you are ever at a convention and offered the opportunity to go ahead and do a play test or something like that, do it. It's really rewarding because sometimes the game you play is not what ends up in the final product. This game was actually a flea circus game at one time, where the fleas were trying to do stunts when you were rolling your dice. And it was developed by Eric Lang and Simon Games and was turned into Tada, a game about wizards casting spells at a spell casting contest. So why don't we go ahead and hit the close cam and we'll check it out. All right, now Tada is a party game, so you know, as such, the rules are really pretty easy. First, you're going to draw your spell cards. You're going to make sure that you have 2 spell cards per turn. We'll take a look at those. All right, so we have those. And then I'm going to reveal a feat card. And that feat card is for the players, you know, what's going to happen that particular round. In this case, you know, you must place 1 die back in the cup one at a time, okay? So, because you're being careful. There's all sorts of different ones in there, like you're a T-Rex and you have to pin your elbows to your side and things like that. Pirate, where you have to cover your eye and say ARG all the time. So, Steve really put in some pretty cool stuff into here. So, after you reveal the feat, then you're going to go ahead and choose a spell, and we'll try the Whippetous Waxus here. All right, and then you're going to be rolling the symbols on the die. Now, this is the broken wand. That's like a little fizzle thing, a little arrow, and then the swirly. All right, the swirly is the hard one to roll because it's got the broken wand on the other side. Otherwise, you have 2 of the arrows and then the, the spell effect on that one. So you throw those into the cup. And this is a speed rolling game, so you're going to be rolling your dice, and then you're going to be locking 1 die at a time on there. So we'll lock the swirl because that's a tough one. And then remember, we're being careful, so we have to put the dice into the cup 1 at a time. Do it, roll it again, see what you got. We'll go ahead and lock an arrow, and then we put it back 1 at a time. You get the idea. So you're going to go ahead and play this until one player has locked all the dice on their spell and successfully cast it. Then that's for 1 to 3 players. 2 players can be successful in a 4 to 5 player game, and 3 players can be successful each turn in a 6-player game. Basically, you go ahead and play until 1 player has completed 6 different spells, and they're the winner. Yes, you guessed it. Ta-da, again, is a party game. So light, simple, fast rules. This is a great game to pull out as a filler. Or, if you've had a long day of Kings of War and, you've played 3 games in a tournament, you just need something to sit around and blow off some steam with your friends. Great time. I'm sure your brain can come up with all sorts of different things to do along with the dice and things like that. But they made it fun. The dice are cool. And the best thing, this game's $25 retail. That's it. So go up on Cool Stuff Inc. Check it out. I'm sure you'll get that at a discount. You can toss that in your order, and you'll have a great time with it for a low investment. So I'm very happy to see CMON coming out with these types of games. It's great seeing them branch out from the real heavy miniature games. I'm loving the trend. So CMON, show me what else you got, because I can't wait to see what else you got coming down the pipeline. And until next time, folks, take care.
Good morning, sunshine. Ever wanted to get your friends to play a board game but didn't have the ability to get them to sit through a 40-minute setup? Well, now you don't have to. With the Broken Token.
Okay, so real talk, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little intimidated about this one because I've had stuff in the Broken Token before. Personally, I bought it and I've loved it, every bit of it, but it's always been easy to put together. It's always been pretty simple. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little intimidated when I got this. That's right, the Scythe Organizer comes in a box. The rest of them come in sleeves of plastic. So naturally I thought, well, the Scythe Organizer clearly has a lot more parts and components. It does, look at this, oh my goodness. However though, do not let this deceive you. Just because there's all these different components, it's still 1 page of organizers, one page of instructions. There's a lot of pieces, yes, but similar trays. You make 7 of these trays, 2 of these trays, and all that kind of different stuff. So it's actually kind of repetitive in a good way once you get started. So don't let that scare you. We're going to build it, come back and see if it really is worth your investment to dive into the Scythe Organizer from the Broken Token.
So what's in the Scythe Organizer that makes it worth your time to get or not to get, if this is for you or not? Let's look at all the components, put it back in the box, see how you like the fit and everything. First of all, resource trays have this wonderful plastic acrylic on top. You can see what's under here. Beautiful, laser etched in with the Broken Tokens logo and Scythe logo. That's a new thing they're doing and it looks great. This is the board tray, and it's kind of a double tray inside of here. It's a really well-made piece. It's kind of hard to explain, but the player boards fit on top of the faction boards, but they don't touch because there's a little bit of a wooden divider that you put in. There's a little bits tray here for all the bits that are in the original game, you know, the encounter tokens, as well as the new ones coming in, the Adventures from Afar. So everything has a little place and it fits onto here quite nicely. Everything goes in perfect. Nothing touches, nothing gets damaged, which is the whole key to having one of these organizers. So this will slot down right into here. Every 7 factions, all 7 factions get one of these faction trays, which holds the dial, all 4 mechs here, and the hero, including an etched in hero and mech symbol. Didn't have to do that, just an added bonus. All the wood goes there. These fit quite nicely, just like this. The money tray, all the money is kept right here. It's a beautiful money tray. Everything holds nice, and they do these slanted bottoms instead of the flat ones, which they've learned from the Caverna one, because you can reach in here and get these out of the bottom without finger sticking and stuff like that. Money tray sits in right there, holds all the money denominations, including twos, which are not in the game. Resource trays we talked about, these go in just like this and just like this. You have the card tray in the back here, holds all the cards in the game, every single type of card in the game, and it is a beautiful little piece here. It holds everything. Everything's got its little divider, small cards, big cards, sideways cards, everything goes into there. One nice piece right there for cards. Everything fits on top. The board goes right here. Instructions go on top of that. And one issue, the only issue there is, this is for the, my copy is the resource version, the retail version, so this board adds a little bit of space between here and here. Something I can live with and I'm not worried about. So should you get this, if you have Scythe, do you like Scythe? If you do, then you should probably get this if you have $50 laying around and you want to get it to the table faster. It helps you get this to the table faster, quicker, and elegantly, and it protects your game. That's the key thing. Scythe is a game you want to protect. With the art that looks as good as this, plus look at that, it's turned vertical, it doesn't even matter. Is art as good as this game looks? You want to protect it, and the broken token helps you do that. So not only is it beautiful, it is also protecting of your game. Check them out, brokentoken.com. You should definitely pick up the Scythe Organizer if you want to keep this game looking nice for a long time to come. It's probably one of the best organizers they've ever made. It takes about 2 hours to put together, which is the entire second half of the Alabama-Mississippi State game, so that was long, but it's worth it. It does require some glue, so make sure you glue those loose joints. For more info, check out the latest retro. I'm Bryan.
Roy Cannaday from Epic Gaming Night, and this is Roll with the Punches, where we talk about randomness in games and how it can make a game exciting. Today we're going to be continuing looking at top decking in games and drawing off of decks of cards and how to mitigate and fix that up. And today we're going to be looking at a game in the Command and Color series, which is Battlelore 2nd Edition. Check it out. In Battlelore 2nd Edition, players are using fantastical fantasy races to battle over different objective points on the board. To properly control the different objective points, you'll need to properly use your command cards. There's a command deck that both players draw from that have different command cards that allow them to move their units and activate their units around the board to move them and to attack. On the board is broken up into 3 sections, left, center, and right. You'll have command cards that correspond to how many units you can activate in those different sections. When you don't have the right card to move them there, you can discard 1 card to move them in any area. There are also command cards that can move units in different areas. So you're trying to set up your armies to best attack your opponent on the correct front. Say your giant has to attack this big nasty dragon. You want to make sure that you're saving your command cards when they're going to be most useful to attack in that area. Especially if you have a lot of units there, you'll deplete them very quickly. So hopefully you can make everything work, and sometimes you're going to be stressed out because you're not going to have the right amount of cards or for the areas you need, but just know that in Command and Colors games, your opponent's going to be struggling with the same thing. I love the Command and Colors system. This command deck is definitely like the lifeblood of the Command and Colors games, trying to figure out which flanks you need to move your guys on and when's the best time to play the specific cards. You have one that can move people in every area. Maybe you should use it early to try to take the different positions, or maybe hold on until later. There's tons of times in the game where you're just stressed out because it's like, man, I really need to be doing stuff on the right flank, but I don't have any cards at all that work for over there. And you just have to figure out if you want to discard a card to move just 1 unit over there, or if it's better just to focus and try to take over other objectives. It's kind of interesting because you're like, oh man, I really want to move stuff on the right, but maybe your opponent doesn't have any cards for the right either. So if he ends up focusing and discarding and barely moving any units over there, maybe you can bring over other guys on the other side of the board. I think it's very interesting and pretty awesome how the cards work as far as showing you where you can take actions, and just as you're being like the leader of this army, not being able to do everything you want all the time. Makes it pretty tense and exciting and super interesting. So that's Battlelore 2nd Edition with the commanding color system. This has been Roll with the Punches. Make sure to check me out on Twitter and Instagram at Epic Gaming Night, and we can hopefully talk and chat there, and we'll see you guys next time.
Throat punchies, I'm Forrest from Bauer's Game Corner. I'm back again for 3 reasons where I spotlight a game outside the top 1,000 on Board Game Geek that I think you still might want to check out. Today I'm going to be talking about the fast-paced dexterity 2-player game Fast Track from Blue Orange Game, and I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you might want to go check out this game, currently ranked about 3,056 on Board Game Geek. Reason number 1 is this is what I like to call a chameleon game. There's lots of different situations where I can put this game and it will succeed. First and foremost, if you're looking for a family get-together game or a family game, this one will definitely fit that bill. I've had great success in that aspect. Also, if you're looking for a children's game where you're still going to have fun playing it with your kids or they can play it by themselves, this one will definitely fit that bill. Ridiculously easy to learn and to teach and to play. Last but not least, and surprisingly, I've had a great deal of success with this as a party game in a bracket sort of thing, where you'd set up brackets and people would play each other in like round-robin tournaments. We've had a lot of fun doing that at parties, so definitely a lot of good situations where you can bust this one out. Reason number 2 are great components in this game. Everything is solid, it's wooden. They got these weird little rubber band type things that don't seem to lose their elasticity. That's a funny word. And I've played this with over 200 kids in my preschool classroom, and it's still going strong. So that is a testament to the components in this game. Last but not least is this is a cheap game, which really appeals to me. I'm a very cheap person. It's currently like $14 on Amazon. If you can find it used, it'll probably be even cheaper than that. So definitely recommend this one as a stocking stuffer or a cheap present to get for kids, or heck, even some adults. So that is Fast Track for Blue Orange Games, one that I think you might want to go back and check out. If you have any ideas for some more party games that would fit into great brackets, because I really do love running brackets and party and having tournaments, let me know about it in the comments below. And as always, back to more throat punchy goodness.
Hey everybody, this is Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire, and I'm here to bring you another episode of SoloThrash, Amerithrash gaming for those of us who like to play alone. Do you like to imagine yourself in the cold, heartless depths of space, with only the heat of your recently fired gun to keep you warm, waiting for aliens to attack you from all sides? Do you like games where no matter how much strategic planning you do, you can still be done in by one bad roll of the dice? Well, if that's the case, I have just the game for you this week. It's Space Hulk Death Angel from Fantasy Flight Games.
Space Hulk Death Angel is a card game in which you play teams of space marines who are battling against swarms of gene stealers. Known for hiding in the depths of space hulks like the one that you are exploring, gene stealers will either murder you or infect you with their genetic material, thus infecting future generations of humans. Hello, cat. To win the game, you and your team of space marines must navigate through several locations in the Space Hulk while eliminating gene stealers along the way. The locations you explore are determined by the number of players in the game. Fortunately, there is a setup designed specifically for solo players. For a solo game, you will control 3 teams of 2 Space Marines, each of whom has a special ability. Each turn, each team will choose a different action. You can attack, you can move and activate, or you can support. But here's the trick. No team can perform the same action 2 turns in a row. So if you go in there guns blazing with all of your Marines in the first turn, you won't be able to attack anything during the following turn. You have to budget carefully if you want your Space Marines to live. When attacking, your success depends on the roll of a single die. So a skull means hit. No skull means it's a miss. You use the same die when the gene stealers attack you. At the beginning of each turn, you also have to draw an event card that determines how many aliens will attack you and from which locations. A few difficult draws and bad die rolls can mean game over for your team.
I personally enjoy playing Space Hulk Death Angel. I will admit that sometimes I get frustrated with the game, mainly because I'm not very lucky, so I get a lot of terrible die rolls that cause me to lose. But it's an Amerithrash game, and randomness is just part of the fun. What I really enjoy is trying to do a little bit of crisis management by strategizing really carefully and budgeting my actions and my special abilities so that I can try to survive that next bad die roll or bad event card. The game actually gets more interesting as more of your Space Marines get picked off because you have to do a lot more with a lot fewer resources. And even though it's a simple, small footprint card game, Space Hulk Death Angel really manages to create this feeling of claustrophobia and being hemmed in on all sides in this tight little corridor with aliens coming from every direction and no guarantee that you're going to survive. And I really enjoy that. I also thought that this was a good time to bring up Space Hulk Death Angel because it's set in the Warhammer 40k universe. And what that means is that it's a victim of the split between Fantasy Flight Games and Games Workshop, and it's going to be going out of print soon. Right now, it's still pretty available. You can get it using Amazon Prime for under $25. So if it looks like your kind of game, this is a good time to pick it up, and I would get it sooner rather than later. So thanks for hearing another episode of SoloThrash, and I will see you guys in a couple weeks on another Throat Punch Lunch. Thanks.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Jedi Mind Games. My name's Koray, and today I want to talk about the worlds that was going on at Fantasy Flight. So there was lots of lists being run that was pretty interesting to me. So there's lots of X-Wing, Imperial Assault, Armada, there was Star Wars Card Game, and Android Netrunner going on there. So what I mainly focused on was I took a look at the worlds lists for X-Wing and Imperial Assault, and I found some cool stuff. There's a lot of defenders out in the meta right now for X-Wing, and that's mainly due to the title card where the defender, whenever they take a 3 maneuver, they get a free evade action. Now this is great because free actions, everyone loves those, and everyone uses those to their full potential, either with 3 defenders or 2 defenders and their Palpatine and the shuttle. Now that was a huge meta-defining list there. There was tons of people running that. Some other cool lists were Dengaru, which is Dengar and Manaru. There were some slight nerfs to the Jump Masters. So the final nerf in the coffin was the Deadeye nerf. We didn't see too many of those there. And we had Rebels in the finals, in the top 2. So I think this is another time that the E-Wing has showed up. So namely Corn Horn, but hasn't been able to take it, has not been able to take the first place. So that's quite interesting to me. And on the Imperial Assault side of things, there were a lot of troopers lists that I saw. So whether it be Rebels or Imperial, but there was mainly Imperial troopers because they were really good at the moment. So the first place utilized the spy side of it. So he had Agent Blaze along with spy troopers. And they were really, really effective the way he was running it. And that's quite the feat. Troopers are really strong because you can reinforce and get some extra value out of them. They have the very powerful card Grenader. And, you could just blow up stuff in a sweet area of effect. And they have lots of good things going for them. So overall, I really enjoyed watching the Worlds. I only watched it on the stream. I wasn't able to attend. But hopefully next year I'd like to attend. And if you guys saw any interesting lists or anything crazy going on over there, please be sure to comment below, and I'd love to chat about it with you. What was your favorite list, and what did you find interesting about it? All right, thanks a lot, guys. Take care now.
Welcome to Miniature World. This week we're at BGG Con, so we're going to talk about a few things that I really find very, very interesting, and that's the progression of 3D printing versus single mold and all the different types of molds. So we're going to really take a look at 2 different games. There's a game that's going to be on Kickstarter in January. It's called Ascension Kings, and the gentleman was able to bring some 3D models from a 3D printer. And I think you're really, really going to like what you see, where you can see a ton of detail, but you can see where 3D printing has to go and still has a long way to go. And we're going to take a look at Doom as well. Doom, which is coming out from Fantasy Flight, we're going to take a look at some of the really wonderful detailed figures that the old style still does. Now, there's pros and cons against 3D printing. And of course, 3D printing, it's very brittle. If you have a sharp sword or something like that, you could just break it off just like that. Where a good solid plastic injected is virtually indestructible. But we're going to take a look at both styles. So why don't we do that right now? So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, and here we're looking at the game Doom, well, it's nice and quiet in the center here, is this is considered a single mold game. And you can see that there's extreme detail here. But look how hard these figures are. They're nice and hard, no bendable. It's not bendable at all. They use a very good plastic, and what it is injected into a mold. And that's pretty much how they make those. And you still get a great amount of detail in here. As you can see with this particular figure here. Wow, he looks pretty ugly, doesn't he? Pretty nasty. But, I mean, an immense amount of detail with this particular molding type, and this is basically what they do. But we're going to take a look at some 3D printing figures, and you're gonna see the difference, and we're gonna talk about that. So why don't we head over? Here we have Ascension Kings, and like I was talking about earlier, how a 3D printer actually works. It uses a very special plastic, okay, and depending on the DPI, okay, which will determine how detailed you get. And you can see that these are some very gorgeous models. I mean, just look at the detail that you get on this. I mean, just absolutely stunning. But the one fallback is that it is very, very brittle and breaks very easily. As you can see, I'm just handling these very carefully, but look at the detail. These are prototypes, and what these are going to do is be printed out in the plastic that we saw with the Doom figures. But you can see if they come anywhere close that these are going to be absolutely gorgeous models. So with that said, let's head on up and get on out of here. Another Miniatures World in the bag. Until next time, I'm Rob Oren, and we'll see you soon.
Hey everyone, it's your friend the Board Game Renegade here, and I'm glad to be back in another episode of Throat Punch Lunch. I'm very excited because today I get to speak to you about a theme of something that is very, very dear to me and has been since I was a child, and that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I used to love the Turtles. I still love the Turtles. I used to watch the show dressed in costume.
Turtle power!
I used to play the video games.
Oh man.
And I absolutely love the toys.
Wow, these toys are fresh.
And before I talk to you about the theme of TMNT Shadows of the Past, I have to change it to something a little more suitable. Let's get started. Meet the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and their master Splinter. They were once normal turtles and a normal rat, but they got accidentally doused in mutagen, which caused them to mutate into human-sized creatures. As it turns out, Master Splinter is a reincarnated ninja master, and these are his reincarnated 4 sons, and in this life, he retrains them in the art of ninjutsu. Meet Master Shredder, who is Splinter's eternal nemesis in this life and the previous. Your 4 turtles are Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, and Michelangelo. Leonardo leads, Donatello does machines, Raphael is cool but crude, and Michelangelo is a party dude. And now they're the world's most fearsome fighting team. They're heroes in a half shell and they're green. And when the evil Shredder attacks, these turtle boys won't cut him no slack. The turtles use their ninjutsu to help clean up New York City. Whenever crimes occur, they hit the streets to take out local thugs. We're surrounded, dudes. Fear not, because the turtles have strong allies. They have Casey Jones, Master Splinter, and April O'Neil to help them fight. Fighting street thugs is one thing, but the Turtles' real danger is Shredder and his Foot Clans, and also some mutants that are helping him. Bebop, Rocksteady, and Alopex, and also his second in command, Koray, Master Shredder's granddaughter. To fight off the enemies, the turtles could use their melee weapons. Hi-ya! They throw shurikens. They could use their special abilities. Turtle power! And they could grind rails while attacking. Cowabunga! Will the turtles defeat Master Shredder once and for all? No, turtles, no, I'll be back. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Yay, dudes, we did it. Let's not celebrate just yet. Let's go home, boys. Or will Master Shredder come back with a vengeance even bigger, stronger, and more powerful? Ah, I feel fantastic. I'll get you, Turtles. I'll get you, Splinter. I'll get you, Casey Jones. I'll get you all. Ha 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 ha. So that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shadows of the Past. Thank you for watching another Hello, Is It theme that you're looking for. I do have my very own YouTube channel. Look me up, The Board Game Renegade. And until next time, good night.
So that is Throat Punch Lunch. Thanks so much for joining us, folks. I sincerely appreciate it. And I just want to take right now, since tomorrow is Thanksgiving, I thank my contributors, hopefully enough, but I don't feel like I do. They do a lot of work. They put in a lot of time to put these segments together. I know how long even just a 3 to 4 minute segment takes to compile everything and do your research and put all the pictures together. I know what it's like, so please, 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 contributors, never feel like your work is not appreciated. So also, I wanted to say thank you to all of our watchers again. You are returning every couple of weeks to hear us blather on about board games. I know it's not blathering to you guys because it's something that you love as well, but I do want to say thank you for all the time that you put in watching our show. I also want to say thank you to all those people at Board Game Geek Con that were willing to sit down and play a game with me. I do appreciate it. It was kind of rough sometimes because those rule books can be kind of tricky, but I hope we had a great time together. I know I did, so I hope that you guys had a great time as well. And without further ado, we're going to get on out of here. We'll see you guys next week for another episode of Throat Punch Lunch. See you guys on the flip side.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.